So we're going to talk about creativity and how to encourage it. And we're talking about team-based creativity. Individually, you guys are probably very creative, but how do you pull ideas out from your team to help your whole team be creative and contribute their creativity? It's not a science. It can be chaotic, and there's no rules, but there's rules of thumbs to help unleash it. It's contrary to almost everything we've learned through college. So far you do a math problem, you have this right answer. You do another problem, you have this right answer, and so forth. You write an English paper, and it comes back with a bunch of red marks on how all your bad grammar and stuff like that. And you're going, you got to do it a certain way. Creativity is breaking loose from those bonds that have bound us for all our lives. It's amazing people are creative at all. Easy to scare away. A teacher up in front. I expect you to all be innovative, independent, critical thinkers and do exactly as I say. Right. So, traditionally, people think of something being novel, unique, new, innovative, useful, and understandable, but as being creative, a creative solution. But that in itself limits what creativity is. We do want to cultivate it. Without an environment that creativity likes, without that playground for ideas, it won't come out to play. Creativity is play a lot of times. So here's some techniques to encourage creativity. Think of opposites. Expand, contract, big, little, stop, go. Microelectronics went from part of the creativity of that discipline was to say, you know what? The smaller we make things, the less expensive they are, and the more we can put on, and we can have computers that can do amazing things these days. Your hand calculator has more programming power than the computer that launched men to the moon. Okay. Here's an interesting one. This was in Rotterdam, I think it's the Netherlands. I don't recall if it's in Denmark or the Netherlands. Anyway, it was bombed in World War II. And the downtown section was wiped out. So they had to start over. And they had this riverfront. And the area used to be trees. Lots and lots of trees. And they needed people. People wanted to live near downtown. So you had the waterfront, a tourist area, a shopping on the first level, downtown area, more shopping nearby, and then living spaces. And the designer said, I'm going to make them look like trees. I'm going to make something that resembles the forest like it used to be here. So these unique houses or apartments that are on a diagonal axis of a cube. Novel, creative. Artists need to learn to be creative. To try to create art that is appealing yet novel, unique, different, something nobody else has done. They're always looking for that idea. In engineering, we want to do that because it means we can make products better, cheaper, and faster. We can make really cool stuff that can really help people. Assistive devices, robotics assistive devices, so that somebody with a spinal cord injury could walk, for example. Okay, where in the design process? It's needed everywhere. When you're solving the problem, here's the thinking cap. You're trying to come up with creative solutions. You need it in the problem formulation. Exploring ideas. Don't commit to the first. Create design requirements. Functional requirements. Need to figure those out. You need to take all the inputs you get and sort through them. Figure that out. Solution implementation. That there might be some unforeseen problems. We think of it most in the problem-solving phase, where we're thinking of ways to design something to actually fulfill that need that we've defined earlier. But it's needed everywhere. No limitations, no laws. Do things creatively. We're taught. Oh, here's another cartoon. Just we're taught to conform, and then you get about our age, your age. You're about ready to launch in the workplace, and employers want innovative employees, but they've been told all their lives not to innovate. Paradoxical. So here's a story. If you look up your textbook, you can read the whole story. Okay, here's another good one. This happens. This really happens. You come up with this fantastic idea, and you bring it to your team, and you get responses like, well, can you test it against a triangle? Thanks, Dr. Ferris. We'll be in touch. Like, not interested. They don't understand what this thing will do. I prefer fire. Another guy says, we're wasting time. We're going in circles. How does it fit into our long-term development plans? We have a plan. Why are you... This looks like a deviation from the plan. Okay, come on. This is a revolutionary thing. And then, will it be acceptable to the downwardly mobile? You know, the digital divide today. Can poor kids have the digital tools they need to succeed in school? That'd be the modern argument. Can the poor people afford this widget, this wheel? It's the history of the wheel is actually kind of interesting because it's a relatively recent invention. It was invented about 3,500 years ago, about the time the Egyptians were making the pyramids. And it was invented in the Fertile Crescent. It wasn't invented in Egypt because they have artifacts. Archaeologists have dug up the first wheels. And it wasn't the wheel that was the problem so much. It was combining a wheel with an axle it takes several parts. It's not just one step. It's not a one-step design. You have a wheel, you have an axle, you have bearings, you have a wagon. Now you can roll this whole wagon on wheels. People had figured out before that they could put logs. What they would do is the Egyptians would put logs under those huge stones they moved, and they'd move the stones, and when the stone rolled off one log, they'd take it from the back and put it at the front. So you had people running around, grabbing the logs, moving it to the front so that you could keep rolling this thing. Like a conveyor belt, modern conveyor belts with the rollers, that a box goes sliding along. That was the idea that they used. And that came before the wheel. It was the predecessor to the wheel. So somebody said, well, why do we have to have people running to the back and grabbing the logs and putting them up front? Why don't we just attach the wheels on a bearing? We're not moving both. We're not moving both the wheel and the object. The object is on a frame and resting on wheels, and the wheels and the object move in the same direction at the same rate. The managers give lip service to creativity, and this happened to me. I came up with a transistor design. I worked in the semiconductor industry and figured out a way to do radiation-hardened transistors better, but management said, "Oh, we can't do that. It's already designed. All this stuff. The contact size will increase." And I said, "Look, your yield is 5%. So what if the contact size increases?" And maybe there was a way to maybe get around it anyway, but we didn't go. Anyway, we could have tested that. Um, they want inventions, but not too bizarre. You solve problems, but in an acceptable way. Well, now you're tying people's hands. Be creative, but don't be creative. That's essentially what they're telling you. We want creative employees, but under control. Um, so management, and by the way, you guys, this is a good time to talk about that. The stuff we're learning this semester about teamwork, about problem solving, about the decision-making process, and we don't want people attached to their pet ideas, but we want them to creatively come up with innovative ideas and feel free to express them with the group. We don't want you guys going up against this and you're going, it's not worth it. I'll just do my job, collect my pay, and go home. These headaches aren't worth it. And that's the way a lot of engineers feel. And this is the way a lot of engineering managers treat people. The working engineers, a lot of times, they don't practice what you guys are learning today. Employers, the councils and the people that define education, and those are the head honchos, the Bill Gates and people like that. They tell education what they want. They want you to be trained in team dynamics and effective teams and working together well and getting along well and not being in the storming stage, but to go on to the norming and the performing stages. Get your teams there. That's what the Bill Gates of this world will tell you. But the middle management, they haven't learned that stuff yet. So one problem with engineering internships is you go out there and you get treated like crap. And you come back and say, we learned all these great things in school, but they don't practice it in industry. We want you guys to take these things and change your companies. One day, some of you, about half of you, are going into either middle management or upper management. So you will have the power to make good team decision-making part of the process in your future employers. You'll have the background and the tools to do it. And start stopping this kind of nonsense that stifles creativity. Stopping this video here now, going to the next video.